Have you heard the latest healthcare news? There's been a medical programming breakthrough. Let's go to Ali and Ron for more.
Thanks, Ed. A Good Samaritan is offering Alexia HTC, a new EMR EHR to doctors for free. Certainly, this free offer will shake things up in the medical software industry. Alexia HTC is a David pitting itself against the Goliaths, Epic, Cerner, and Meditech, which are old and cost too much money. What happens if you figure out how to build a new EMR EHR on the web for pennies on the dollar? You give it away to the suffering physicians for free.
Want to learn more about how these two powerhouse solutions will help you win more business? Schedule a demo below. In just minutes, Alexia HTC can help you access a patient record, enter an order, write a note, prescribe a medication, generate a charge, and create a super bill. Plus, Alexia Care Corporation, the vendor of the new web application, offers full customer service and training support free of charge. Who can beat that?
Hello. Brothers and sisters, we are very happy to welcome you to a new edition of our show titled Speak of Africa. We have a whole lot of great news for you. So many stories are breaking out, and we want to really share these stories with you. So much is happening in the motherland. But before we go to the motherland, we want to take you to America. As they say, charity begins at home. We're in America, and there's a whole lot of protests and conflict going on in the United States. And we want to take you to Kentucky. As you know, Kentucky is the birthplace of Muhammad Ali, the greatest. You remember the greatest heavyweight fighter in the world? Okay, so Kentucky is his homeland. In Kentucky, a black militia, armed, came out and started marching in protest of the killing of a black girl. So this is something that we want you to know. So the black people now are not accepting the status quo. They are protesting every day to bring about change. So with this edition of the show, we really want to take you to a theory which we've always presented to you. Africa has a lot of problems. Il y a toujours trop de problèmes en Afrique. Trop de problèmes en Afrique, je peux vous dire. Africa has so many issues, so we really want to concentrate on African problems. We're not going to run away from African problems. We have to deal with them. So whether you like it or not, we have to deal with these problems. Okay? Plato says the same thing. In fact, we're going to be talking much about Plato again on this show because Africans have to start learning how to think. If we don't think, then it means we're just like animals. Our people now are beginning to think. They are beginning to think about their condition. They don't accept tyranny. They don't accept colonialism. So they are fighting back. They are protesting. There is conflict. So you can just imagine that after almost 2/4 of a century, Africa still doesn't know how to govern itself. So that's a shame. It's a challenge to us Africans that after almost 50 years of so-called independence, we still do not know how to organize our societies so that we can live in peace and harmony. Okay? We're not really looking forward to a utopian world such as the one presented in Plato's The Republic, but we want to get close to an ideal, okay? We want to get close to a country where you can have the rule of law. So far, what obtains in much of Africa is the strong man rule or the big man rule. As we can see, it's not working because when people become tired, they start revolting, they start challenging the big man. That's what is really happening in Ambazonia today. We've covered Ambazonia so many times on this show, but you can see that there is a form of Anglophone nationalism. The people of that area of Africa are dreaming about their past. They are yearning for the return of a paradise lost. And this is why there is fighting and conflict in that part of the world. As we can tell you for the show of today, Alaska is a state in the United States. Some of their lawmakers started talking about the Anglophone problem in Ambazonia. They want the United Nations to do something about this problem. So they've started talking about it, and they are putting pressure on the US government to do something about solving this Anglophone problem. Because the truth is, there are a lot of people in this part of the world who are really suffering every day because this is really a war zone. We don't want to be showing you pictures full of blood anymore because we know a lot of folks don't like to see it and they're tired of it. Even YouTube challenges us whenever we bring all these images, but we just want to tell the truth, okay? Our job is to tell the truth and to report the true story. So that's what is really happening. So in Ambazonia, we are looking for some form of a ceasefire, as has been called by a lot of elements of the international community. But will the Paul Biya government listen to the voice of the international community? These people are financing him, so we think if they start putting pressure on him, he will be able to do something to bring about a ceasefire. So we are really asking for a ceasefire in Ambazonia, which is why we've been reporting on the suffering of the masses in that part of the world. From Ambazonia, we're going to go to the Central African Republic. When we look at the Central African Republic, it tells us that the whole concept of the nation state, the concept of the nation state is a colonial concept. It means that Africa can survive by splitting itself into small countries. But our thesis is these small countries are very small entities. As small as these entities are, they cannot survive on their own. So we really need Africa to unite and create one country, one nation, so that we can have the rule of law. That's the only way Africa can survive in the world of today. With all these little nation states, our example is to tell you that the nation state is a colonial concept that has failed. It's not working, which is why every day there are problems in Africa. Africans are people who need to start thinking so that they can rule themselves. In the case of the Central African Republic, since the ouster of Bokassa, the dictator, there's been problems. The last guy who is also running this week for president, his name is Francois Bozizis. Francois Bozizis is a coup plotter who rose to power in the Central African Republic. He was chased out and he ran to La République du Cameroon, and he spent so much time in hotels, drowning his frustration in beer and wine. And eventually, they had to kick him out of La République du Cameroon. But today, we hear that he is back. He is talking about reconciliation, trying to make things work in Central African Republic. But as you know, the Central African Republic has been a theater where a lot of colonial forces have been working themselves out. You have the French forces who think the Central African Republic is their plantation. Then, of course, you have the Russians under Vladimir Putin, who have been bringing mercenaries to protect the current president, then exploit all the resources of that country, especially the mining sector. A lot of natural resources are there. So all these guys have been fueling conflict so that they can exploit the resources in Central African Republic. So when we hear that Francois Bozizis is returning, is running for president to become head of state, then we start asking questions. Is this guy not at the International Criminal Court? Why should a criminal be walking free? Why was Francois Bozizis not arrested when he set foot in Central African Republic? It's because Africa is like no man's land. The Central African Republic is a small state, chaotic nation state, which is not even strong enough. It's easy, once you break into N'Djamena, the capital, everything is down, okay? So we need to start building stronger countries. And this is why when Kwame Nkrumah decided to create the Organization of African Unity, we were thinking that Africa is going to start forming a big union. So we're going to have one country, one people, but it did not happen because some of these colonial caretakers connived to kick him out, and Africa is still suffering today because the nation state is not viable. It's not a viable alternative, okay? We need to start thinking. So when we look at Central African Republic, the story is not different when we go down and look at what is happening in Libya.
Is your EMR EHR COVID-19 ready? If not, you do not know what you are missing. Why do you suffer in silence? Be smart. Turn to Alexia HTC today. Alexia HTC is the leader in virtual solution and communication technology in these times of pandemic crisis. When the unexpected happens, who are you going to call? Alexia HTC. Come and see how Alexia HTC Cloud Communications are enabling your fellow healthcare providers to consult with patients virtually and making big money. Alexia HTC also enables your employees to work remotely during the COVID-19 crisis. Are your employees safe? Do not jeopardize the health and safety of your patients and practice. What can Alexia HTC do for you? Alexia HTC is the new Colossus, the sister of physicians, who gives you back liberty, that is, the freedom to practice medicine your way. Vivacious virtual visits wherever you please. Amazing e-prescribing. Quick access to patient information. Easy access to medical records from other providers. Rapid drug allergy checks. Integrated lab tests and results. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled doctors yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your greedy corporations. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed physicians, to me. I give them the refuge. The happy home of Alexia HTC. Act now. Browse alexiahtc.com or call 240-350-1131.
We've talked about Libya a few times on this show, and you can see that Libya is a very good example which shows you the failure of the nation state. Muammar Gaddafi was able to pull these tribes together to work as if they are a nation. But tribalism doesn't allow such arrangements to work well. When Gaddafi was killed by the colonial forces, the whole place now became a theater of war. War has been going on since the ouster and killing of Muammar Gaddafi. Okay? Today even, when you look at what is happening in Libya, the whole country is torn apart. You have two forces, Khalifa and the UN-backed government, are still fighting for supremacy, each trying to take over power. Then, of course, you have the interplay of a lot of colonial forces too. On the one hand, you have Russia and France, okay? Then on the other hand, you have Turkey. You know the guy in Turkey, Erdogan, Tayyip Recep Erdogan. He too is fighting for power in Libya. What are they really looking for? Don't be fooled. What these guys are looking for are oil and gas concessions. The whole idea is that when they win the war, then they will be at a table to discuss how much of Libyan oil or how much of Libyan gas they will be able to take to their countries. So Russia is positioning itself to really benefit a whole lot from this Libyan civil war. Similarly, France, a colonial power that you know, is always there. France always wants to get from other people's countries stuff that don't belong to them. And that's really what is happening now. So France is aligning with Russia to steal the resources of Libya. France and Russia are not alone. You have other countries like United Arab Emirates is also behind them, okay? Then on the other hand, you have Italy and Qatar that are joining Turkey to fight for the spoils of Libyan oil and gas. So when you look at this, if we were to form a real country with rules of law, where the strong man rule or the big man rule doesn't obtain, then the people rule will obtain. When the people rule obtains, then it makes for freedom and stability. So it means that the politics of exclusion has been put aside, and now we are looking for the people to run their country democratically, which is basically what we're looking for. But this has not really happened. So it's really sad when you look at what is happening in Libya. The United States used to be the world's policeman, and they used to try to mediate and try to create some peace in some of these places. But since the rise of President Donald Trump, America has basically left that part of the world to its own devices. I don't know whether that's payment to the Russian, but I don't know. But that's what is really happening. So America is not really playing the role of the policeman or peacemaker. So when you even look at people like Al-Sisi of Egypt, who are lackeys of the United States, they're just confused because they don't really know what to do. So what we're saying is, then of course you talk about the African Union. The African Union is nowhere to be found, which is why in our past videos, we've spent a lot of time criticizing the African Union. Okay? It's a toothless bulldog. Okay? The African Union is useless. It's a useless organization. So I don't really know why it exists. It should not exist because Africans are having crisis. This was supposed to be an organization that should put the various little countries of Africa together. But the African Union cannot handle it. All these crises are taking place. The African Union doesn't know what to do. So it's really a shame when people keep talking about the African Union. The African Union, in fact, ECOWAS is even trying. And we'll talk about it when we get to Mali. But for now, we want to take you to La République du Cameroon, because that's another example which shows you that because of the rule of a big man, because of the rule of a strong man, a lot of problems are taking place. The people are fighting. Okay? First, in the north, far north of La République du Cameroon, you're going to see 5 B elements. B are a private militia of the rogue regime of President Paul Biya. So whenever there's a need to kill people or keep them quiet, Biya sends the B guys to go and do the bad job, okay? So they do all of that. Unfortunately for them, this week, it was reported to us that over 5 of the B elements, B stands for Bataillon d'Intervention Rapide. It's like Rapid Intervention Force. Okay, that's what it means in French. So 5 of these guys were in a vehicle in the far north. Then a very powerful windstorm broke out and it swept all these guys. So the next day, one of the militia guys was found, but the other 4 were not found. So that's a tragedy. When you go to fight some of these senseless wars, know that you are sacrificing your life. So this is a message some of these soldiers need to know. Don't go fighting stupidly. Don't just obey commands stupidly. Just know that you're putting your life at risk because you die for nothing and you die in vain. That's basically what it means, because this is a senseless war. We've said before that this whole issue with Boko Haram is not well handled by most African governments. They are handling it the wrong way. You cannot use force to solve a political problem. Because you think you have a lot of military might, you think you can just crush anybody. But it's not working. As weak as some of those people are, they always know when to strike. They use guerrilla tactics. And these are tactics that your average soldier is not aware of. Okay? So that's a sad thing. There's a story about Greenpeace. Greenpeace is an NGO, a non-governmental organization. Greenpeace wants us to live in a better world, in a green world. Unfortunately, the rogue regime of Paul Biya continues to take money from foreign firms and allows them, gives them free rein to cut all the trees in the forest. So Green Tree is fighting this trend, and you can even see pictures of Green Tree against logging in a place called Ebo in Littoral region. Okay? It's really sad. The same place, I want you to see a hospital in this same part of the world. The Biya government makes so much money from this area, from logging, timber and all that stuff. But look at the kind of hospital that exists in this part of the world. Some of the people in the Biya government are ministers, okay? They head departments. But look at the kind of hospital that they have in their village. Very primitive place you call a hospital. The guy who is even operating is not a doctor. He's just a fake doctor. But the people just don't have any alternative. They have to rely on him for survival. So it's a shame that you're collecting all this wealth from where these people live, yet you cannot even extend $1 to them to take care of their healthcare needs. This is a shame, and it's like God is punishing this government. And a few days ago, we saw the fire of the General Treasury burning. That is like divine punishment. We can tell you that. It's really like divine punishment.
Place so I can get my taxes done. You know I'm trying to buy a new house. What's up?
Let's get it on. If you're searching for a house, call up my man Prince Ojong, the best in real estate. Take it from your guy's shape. When I say his services are the best in the states, word is born. He even take care of your tax forms, fat refunds. So come, get your business done. Consultations, financial organization, fast processing. No waiting, this man is amazing. The Prince.
At now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131.
So from La République, we're going to go now to Mali. We covered Mali last week on this show, and we're going to return. Mali is a very good example, which shows you that the nation state is a failure. What we need is continental unification, where we have to throw away the big man rule or the strong man rule in favor of people rule. When the people rule, everything would be better for the nation. There will be more peace. Now in Mali, there's no peace. And you can see that President Buhari last week had sent Goodluck Jonathan to go and make peace. Things were not working. So this week, Mr. Buhari himself has gone to Mali, followed by 4 other African leaders from Senegal and Niger and other places. They met him in Bamako to try to see how they can work peace between President Keïta and the opposition. But the people don't want to listen. All what they are asking is the resignation of President Keïta, because they think his government is too corrupt and they cannot really negotiate with such an individual. So which is why we're telling you that there's so much tension. So what is going to happen in the end? Mr. Buhari went there and it looks like he was not successful in bringing peace to that country. So what we're looking at is more and more problems. The protests will continue. Where is the African Union? The African Union is nowhere to be found. ECOWAS is even making an effort to try to deal with some of these conflicts, but the African Union doesn't exist. Okay? So it's just a shame. I don't know who is really deceiving you. The African Union is useless. It doesn't exist. When there are problems like this, they don't come around. From now, we'll move to Nigeria. In Nigeria, last week we brought you the story of Tolulope Arotile, an effort pilot who was killed in an accident. We've tried to ask, what really killed this pilot? It looks like her death is a cover-up. From the intelligence that we're gathering, it looks like her death is a cover-up. Who killed her? Why is it that the Nigerian Air Force is not revealing the truth about her death? What kind of accident is it? We know for a fact that she's been fearless, brave girl who has been going around bombing some of these Boko Haram terrorists. So is it that these people wreak revenge on her, or who really killed her? So these are stories that her family and friends need to know. So the Nigerian Air Force needs to reveal the truth. So we're seeking the truth and we need the truth. So far, whatever the Nigerian government is telling us is not the truth. So we know they are all lies. And as we're coming to the studio to tape the show of today, we also hear there are more Kaduna killings. A lot of people are killed by herdsmen from Kaduna. Okay? What is President Buhari doing about it? Nothing. These people are killing people. Is President Buhari calling them terrorists? No. He calls Boko Haram guys terrorists, but these herdsmen, he doesn't call them terrorists. Why not? We think it's for political reasons. He doesn't want to alienate his base, which is why he's not calling them terrorists. But his action is just fueling more conflict, more insecurity, and some of the people are already asking questions. When your house is on fire, why are you leaving Nigeria to go and put up fire in another country? So that's a shame to President Buhari. Your own house is on fire. Instead of putting off the fire, you're leaving to go to a neighboring country to go and put fire out there. It's a shame. Finally, we're going to take you to Sudan. Of course, you know that Sudan has a new government and they are trying to rebuild their country after the ouster of Omar Bashir. A story broke out today which revealed to us that in 1990, a lot of people, soldiers who participated in an aborted coup d'etat against Omar Bashir, were killed and buried in a mass grave. So the new government has uncovered this mass grave. So long as there's no rule of law, Africa will continue having problems. And this is what we want to share with you today. There's a need for the rule of law. The one-man rule, the big man rule, the strong man rule is anachronistic. Africa needs people rule, where the people decide. Africa needs the rule of law. So when you have the rule of law, where there is division of power, then there will be counterbalances. If you have a guy who is an egalomaniac, who wants to be a dictator, he will be checked by the other branches of government. But when you allow one person to rule by decree, then he can abuse the people. And that's just the problem we find in many African countries today. So our thesis remains, the nation state is a colonial creation that has failed. So what we need now is one country, a United States of Africa that can be organized in a better way so that the people have a voice, so that one person should not dominate the government. Thank you very much. As we close the story of today, we want to ask you to continue to subscribe to our show. Subscribe. We want to see the numbers going up. If you've not told your friends about this show, now is the time for you to do so. We want Africans to start thinking, which is really the goal of this show. So we make you think, bring other people to think with us. Bye-bye. God bless you.
I'm at Favor. It's an African store by the neighborhood here, Beltsville, in back of Maryland's farm. It's been a wonderful year for the past 2 to 3 years we have in this African store here, and it's helping us. And actually, it's a good place for us to come and give us support and do some shopping here. The prices are reasonable, and most of the stuff you can have is universal.
One thing I love about this store, they are very consistent and they treat the customers very, very well. You come here, you see everything that you will need for your house.
Express Driving School is the place for excitement of fast-track driver education, drug and alcohol testing, driver counseling, bilingual translation. For all your MVA needs, contact us. John F. Abbey, 6480 New Hampshire Avenue Suite, 207B, Tacoma Park, Maryland, 20912. Office phone, 301-270-0018. Cell phone, 240-644-3977. And you can reach us at our website, expressdrivingeducation.com. Medical practice software is too old. Indeed, all the programs are built on MUMPS, technology of the 1950s, and the programs cost too much money. Epic and Cerner cost billions of dollars. Meditech costs thousands of dollars too. In fact, that's why we created AlexiaHTC.com, a new and free EMR/EHR for doctors. AlexiaHTC.com is built for HIPAA. Yes, magical one-screen technology, ease of use, quick charting, amazing e-prescribing, tight labs integration, multi-office difference, because we believe doctors and patients need a break today. Be the first to test drive AlexiaHTC.com. You have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. Act now. Call 240-350-1131. Alexia Care Corporation at AlexiaHTC.com.
Unique Auto Repair. This is a brother from Ghana. His name is Emmanuel Ofori. He has a good business and he repairs cars. He repairs all types of cars. Mercedes, Toyota, Honda, you name it. The brother does it. He repairs everything. So even if you buy a car from the auction and you need to get it fixed, go to Emmanuel Ofori, Unique Auto Repair. He will repair this for you. It's very, very good. He has repaired my cars for me many times, and I love the service. And if you mention my name, Prince Ojong, he will give you even something also.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.